welcome back to the home of Chrome, and today we're going to do a little update video. We're going to do some Q&A, things like that. Driving my 94 Cadillac. It is a Superior funeral coach. It is the Superior Sovereign, and we're just going to kind of cruise around, and we're going to answer some questions, and I'll find a place to pull off and we'll talk about the car. We'll go from there. Now, like I said, welcome back to the home of Chrome. Today we're going to answer a few questions, and of course the big question I always get is, why do you drive a Hearse? So the reason I drive a Hearse, I've been into Hearses since I was I'd say probably about 9 years old. My grandparents took me to my grandfather's aunt's funeral, and in southern Mississippi, when you go to a funeral, you stay all day long for the visitation, the day before the actual service, and then have the service the following day. Well, at 9 years old, staying in a funeral home all day long got kind of boring. So I did what any 9-year-old does, and I went exploring. Well, I found the side door that led out to the Hearse, and I fell in love with that car. Just because, how big it was and the way it looked, and just all the shiny goodness you would expect a Hearse to have. So that is what started my love for Hearses, and that's why I have them now. I've been in the funeral business for a long time, and that just that blossomed from my love of Hearses. So there is a professional side to it, of course. Another question I get is, aren't you weirded out by driving a Hearse? You would think that answer would be obvious, and the obvious answer is no. Yes, I know what they're used for. Yes, I understand what they represent. Yes, I understand that it's not everybody's gig, and that's fine. More Hearses for me. But no, it doesn't wig me out. Obviously I know what they're used for because I've used them for that purpose. In fact, I've used this car for that purpose several times. For both of my grandparents in 2018, I took them both to the cemetery in this car, which I understand a lot of folks might be kind of weirded out by that a little bit. And that's okay. I mean, that's not for everybody. And then in 2020, took the wife of a very good friend of mine. She passed away, and they asked me if I would take her to the cemetery in it because they love old cars, and this is the oldest Hearse that they had free access to. So absolutely. It was an honor type thing, of course, for my grandparents and for my good friend's wife. I have lived out of this car. Yeah, I actually lived out of this car. Did some contracting up in Maine, and I was making enough to keep my apartment in Connecticut, but I wasn't making enough to keep my apartment in Connecticut and have a hotel room. So as long as the weather was nice, I showered at the hangar and slept in the car. Had my mattress back there and all my good stuff, everything I needed. I could power the computer and phone and everything else I needed from the charger on the car. Not a big deal. And that was kind of weird. People are like, you live in that thing? You're like, yeah, I basically live in this thing. So for a few months I did that. Would I do it again? Yeah, if I had to. It was pretty fun, actually. Just kind of, like camping all the time. Anywho. Let's see here. A lot of people ask, how many people do I think has this car carried? So, knowing the lineage of this car and the funeral homes where it's served, I can kind of get an idea of Metropolitans. Sorry. Anyway, kind of get an idea of how many people this carried based on their average call loads. And I would have to say this car, from 1994 until it was actually retired in 2011, I'd have to say it's probably carried somewhere around 9,000 people to their final resting place. So that's quite a bit. My other two, I'm not quite sure. I know my 70, probably not that many because it was in small towns. So maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. I say not that many. That's obviously quite a bit when you're talking about, human life. But in the grand scheme of things. Now, my 74, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure what funeral homes it served with, just because the records for Miller Meteor have all but been destroyed. We're not going to find them. So that sucks, but I suppose it is what it is. Another question I get is, what is it like to daily drive a Hearse? What is it like to daily drive a Hearse? So it's a lot like driving any other car, other than the fact that you're going to stand out really good in traffic. And if you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, probably not the car you'd want to drive, because especially my older ones, people like to slow down and gawk, which is okay. I mean, it's a Hearse. Why wouldn't you want to look at a Hearse? Okay, I understand why some people wouldn't want to look at a Hearse, but that's not what we're talking about here. Because it kind of just stands out. It's kind of odd to see one just driving around on a Thursday night, at the Walmart. But it is what it is. But daily driving a Hearse is actually, it can be fun. You meet a lot of people. Luckily, in my 18 years of Hearse ownership, I've really met nothing but good people. Whether it's through a car club or somebody stopping me in the grocery store parking lot or coming up to me at a gas station. Now, I have met a few weirdos, but it is what it is. And of course, where I want to turn off, there's somebody driving a tractor, so that's cool. I'm not going to go down that way. Let's see here. Boo. So anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, what's it like to daily drive a Hearse? I've met a lot of really good people. Quite honestly, I've met a lot of really good people. Met a couple weirdos. Like the other night, I was at Walmart, and this guy wanted to talk to me and wanted to argue about the Cadillac 501. Cadillac didn't make a 501 cubic inch engine, because what's the point when you already make a 500? So the story on that is the 501 is the engine code, if you want to call it that, for the 472. And he want to go around and be like, no, I've worked on it for years. They made a 5. I'm like, no, man. Like, why are they going to make an engine, You know, why are they going to make a 500 cubic inch engine and then make another a 501 cubic inch engine? Makes no sense, like financially or anything like that. Makes no corporate sense at all. So anyway, that's my rant. Other than that, reliability on a Hearse is pretty decent, honestly. Because normally they're taken very good care of, and are normally low mileage. When I bought my 94, I picked it up with about 108,000 miles on it, a little bit more than that, and I paid $4,800 for this car. But that was back in 2011. So I've had the car now just over 11 years. I bought it actually September. Sorry, I'm going down a dirt road. As much as I don't want to be down this dirt road, I don't really have a choice. So anyway, bought it September 11th of 2011. And I've got 179,292 miles on it now. So I've put, 71,000 miles on this car, give or take. And I've had it in every state east of the Rockies and in the Rockies. Good Lord. All right, so let's talk about some updates here. If you remember, a few weeks ago, I posted a video with my little Model T, and I asked you guys, what would you like to see built? And oddly enough, well, let's go back. I asked you guys what you wanted to see, how you guys wanted me to build that car. I gave you guys the option of a little roadster type speedster, or a roadster pickup truck, or a Hearse. And oddly enough, for those of you that answered, it was a resounding build a Hearse. So we're going to build a little hot rod Hearse. Honestly, I'm quite okay with that, because that's what I need is another one, right? So what we're going to do is, I was going to use that 472 that we pulled out of the Wizard's car, but that's just going to be, I think, as far as weight and all that goes, it's going to be too much for that little chassis, and the torque that'll come out of it is just going to twist it. So I've got a 350 with a turbo 350 trans sitting in the garage. The chassis that I have now is already set up for a 350 because that's what I was going to use for it when I was building the truck. So we're going to do a 350-350 combo, and we'll build a box of sorts for our Hearse, and we'll decorate it up and do it up like you would expect one to be. So I'm doing a lot of research on that right now, trying to figure out what style I want to go with, and because once it's done, it's done. And we all know that lumber right now is not cheap. There's going to be a lot of engineering that goes into it so it doesn't fall apart as I'm going down the road, hitting bumps, things like that. I got to figure out how to make the chassis work for what I want it to do. So I guess this winter we're going to build a Hearse. But I've got a couple other winter projects going on too, like my 57 Chevy that I've got. I really need to swap the motor in it, motor and trans, and that one, and get it running. So I'm gonna figure out how to do that, because the 350 that I've got slated for the 57 is going, I don't know, probably going to go in the T bucket. I don't know. We got to figure out the engine dilemma. So that 472, I'm going to do something with it. We'll figure it out what we're going to do. I have an idea. And it's going to be, well, I don't know if it's going to be kind of normal. I'm not going to go out there and say it's going to be cool. It's going to be kind of normal what is done with it. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. But we got winter coming up, and like right now, it's going to be hard to shoot any videos outside because of the wind. We're getting to that point of the season in Kansas where it's really windy all the time. So that should be fun and entertaining. And really what I want to shoot for, my goal right now is to have a warehouse of sorts sometime after Christmas. There's a couple places up the road from my house that I want to look at getting into, see if I can find one large enough where I can at least put the two hearses and my square body in it. Oh, you guys would like to know that I do have a tire for that square body, so I can go get that changed out just whenever I get the chance to. So I know that bugs a lot of y'all, and I know some of y'all want to see it. Hell, I want to see it. I'm tired of looking at things just sitting there. You know, I'm ready to get some work done on it, but man, I've got so many projects going on that is not even funny. But we'll get there, won't we? Ooh, Torino. Not a Torino, I'm sorry. I'm dumb. That's a freaking Charger. So anyway, yeah, it's just a whole lot of what we have going on right now. I'm gonna find somewhere I can pull off and we can talk about this car. So how they build this car is when the funeral home places the order, the dealership that they ordered from will place an order through the coach builder, and then the coach builder has what they call a blank commercial chassis vehicle sent to them. Basically, it is a this would have been, of course, been a Cadillac Fleetwood, and really the only thing that is original to the car from before the modification is the front end and the doors, the front doors. The glass is commercial glass. They basically bring it in, cut the car up and stretch it 26 inches, which they would have stretched it 26 inches right about here. Put that extra length in here behind the door. And then this is all fiberglass. It's all fiberglass. This is metal. Here the doors are stamped, but the actual body of the car, with the exception of the doors and the front end, is all fiberglass. So that's a little bit of tidbit of information for you that you might not have asked. But that's how they build a car. They'll build a skeleton type frame over what they've cut, and then they place these caps on it with I don't know what they call it, with panel bond. Holds everything together. They send it in for paint, and then it goes to interior shop, and it's completed that way. So, but yeah, like I said, this is a 94 Cadillac. This is a Superior Sovereign on the B9Q commercial chassis. This car originally came with lace style wheels. I got tired of the lace style wheels because they were really hard to clean, but I still got them there in the garage. But I went with 1993 Fleetwood Brougham wheel covers because that's what I like. So it throws a lot of people off because like, oh, 93. I'm like, no, 94. And like, well, the wheel covers say 93. I was like, yeah, but everything else is 94. So it's a 94. Yep. Anyway, so this is my car. I'll go home and get out of this wind, go work on the 70 some more, and yeah, we'll call her good.